We're due the 10.
Yeah, let's go. Let's roll.
It's 6 o'clock, and I'm calling the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of February 6th, 2025 to order. May we begin with a roll call?
Yes, sir. Hector G. Garcia,
I am here.
Rolando Cázares, Cindy E. Cantú, Michael Barron,
Here.
Johnny M. Narvaez,
Present.
Jean Bermares,
Here.
Regina Portillo, Daniela Sadapaz, Adolfo G. Martinez. For the record, you do have a form.
Thank you. May I have a motion to excuse those that aren't present?
So move, Mr. Chair. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to table the election of officers. Second.
We have a motion and a second to table the election of officers. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Moving on to consider approval of minutes for the regular meeting of January 16th, 2025.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Moving on to citizen comments.
None yet.
Thank you. Moving on to review and consideration of the following master plan. Item 7A is review of the revision of the Palm Lake subdivision master plan. The intent is residential, multifamily, and commercial. The purpose of this revision is to reconfigure phases.
Yes, sir. For the record, the applicant is San Isidro Southwest Engineer Slate Engineering Company. Proposed use is residential, multifamily, and commercial. The zoning for this 842 lot development is R1A. Location view. Aerial view. The current approved master plan that was approved by P&Z on February 1st of last year, 2024. And the revised master plan submitted. Staff comments planning. Fire. Traffic safety. And the proposed motion.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Ramiro Ibarra from Slay Engineering, and we concur with all of the comments except for comment number 2. And comment number 2, we have several dead-end streets on our master plan, and most of them, and you will see it again on the preliminary plat. We have 3 instances where we have dead-end streets, but they're super short. They're 130 feet long. So the comment states that as per ordinance, we should put a 120-foot cul-de-sac, which is, that's the minimum required for a dead end when it's more than 150 feet. But since these streets are so short, then that will pretty much take up a huge area. And we are asking if we can remove that comment, and we'll put it will be a dead-end street. We'll put signs and warning signs that, the street is about to dead end, and it's pretty obvious because it will be 130 feet only long. So I don't know if planning has anything to add in regards to that. As per the fire code, 150 feet is the minimum that you can have without a turnaround. So, and our streets are very short, they're 130 feet or less.
I don't know if staff can put up on the map kind of reference what he's talking about as far as within the master plan of what he would like to do.
I think it might
Is
be
there
best
any
to show
way
it
to-
on the phase 1.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the third item.
But I think the comments say the northeasterly in phase 2. And so I know you have several, so I counted 8 maybe, but I think we're talking about a dead end street most northeasternly roadway in phase 2. I think the comment's a little more specific than that.
Yeah.
To connect to an adjacent property.
Oh, but this is comment number 2 regarding the dead ends.
Right.
This is, you'll see it.
Okay.
Let him point it out. It's hard to see where he's showing it. It looks like it's a street that's connecting. However, it's going to be, they're proposing a fence. Is that the
A
one?
subdivision fence, yes.
Fence.
So if you're driving on the main collector road, you won't be able to tell it's a dead-end street. But on the other side, well, we can put barricades or some landscaping, some rocks. Let me go. We have 3 instances, and one is at the very top, where it's connected to Fasken.
You see the screen.
I'd probably recommend on the packet. You can zoom in.
Oh, on the fasting. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Este que está
Yeah.
aquí.
Yeah,
We'll be able to see it there,
yeah.
you
So
know?
there's 3 instances. One is right here.
Can we bring it?
This
Hold
will
on
not
a
connect to
second.
Fasken.
Right.
There's another instance right here. This will not connect to Havasu, right here.
Okay.
And there's another instance right here which will not connect to Palm Lake.
Right, not yet.
And I concur with planning. It is hard to see that they're not streets because they are connecting the right of way. But we can add notes to mention that those will not have direct access to those streets. So all interior traffic will have to go through the local street and then come out to the main entrances.
But they won't have access now until they're ready for the other phases.
I'm sorry?
They won't have access now until they have other phases connecting to them?
No.
Or none at all? Permanent?
Yeah, they will never have. They'll be dead ends permanent.
What's staff's stance on this? Henry, I know you have a comment that you,
Well, it's as stated.
Yeah, correct.
The thing is like, you don't have any access out to Fasken marked?
Well, it will be.
Except the dead end there, and then there's one Tahoe Drive. Does that connect to Fasken, or is it that another dead end?
Well, Tahoe, which is Havasu and to where, to Rancho Viejo or to
Rancho
Fasken? Havasu connects to Fasken, yes, and that intersection
Yeah,
is.
we're
no.
gonna try and put it up so we can see it a little bit
Ve
better.
aquí. Aquí no hay
Can
una
I put
salida
it
aquí.
real quick?
Ni aquí tampoco.
It's a dead end, right?
Todo por acá.
As a matter of fact, today I was driving and actually hit a dead end. And that dead end, the 2 houses that were on the side, everybody was parked at that dead end. So you couldn't make a U-turn. I had to get on somebody else's driveway to make a U-turn to turn back.
That's right.
And if there's an emergency, there's no, because the neighbors are gonna start using that as, man, let me park my car there, let me park my car there. It's 4 or 5 parking spots. I have an issue with that because there is no way to turn around.
The advantage of this, like you mentioned, they're super short. There's probably maybe 2 lots that will be there. Another advantage is that only 2 lots are fronting that road. I believe in all 3 cases, only 2 lots are fronting the road. The rest are not. It's the side lot.
It's okay.
And again, it's 130 feet from the center of the road. So in reality, it's like 100 feet. So anybody can see that it's a dead end. It's 100 feet. It's only 2 lots.
Por aquí. Aquí dice.
But it can still be used as a parking lot.
Es una entrada.
People might use it. The neighbors that live there, because it's a closed area.
Debe de ser otra.
Zoom in there, you know, and,
Could a hammerhead be an option?
Y nomás tiene una entrada y una salida para toda su edición.
Sí, porque Palm Lake está hecho.
That'd be a form of turnaround?
Nomás vas a
Are
adelantar
hammerheads
todo.
allowed?
Por
Or-
ahora, por ahorita sí. Y aquí no sé.
Y ahí ya no hay salida.
No, ya.
I mean, this is a quote from the code, so it
Okay.
doesn't really provide for hammerheads.
Okay. I was just curious.
That's,
Nothing
that's,
yet, nothing yet.
that's the only thing.
Future, yes.
And my main issue is, since the first time this came up from the first phase, is that we need to have alternative exits. You are doing everything towards, ¿cómo se llama? Rancho Viejo. We do not have Palm Lake yet. And then you're building all of these phases and you're not gonna have any exit towards Fasken either.
Palm Lake, it's already constructed, even connecting all the way to Mines Road. This segment that I'm pointing with the pointer is part of Phase 1, and that's also constructed. It hasn't been accepted by the city, so it's still not open. But by the time we go under construction for Unit 3, we requested the final inspection meeting already, so it will pretty soon be open. And so this area already is connected all the way to Mines Road. And what we're proposing is, with this new phase, Phase 3, is extending Palm Lake up to here,
Okay.
and then extending also to provide that connectivity. Havasu,
Towards-
this is already existing also, not open yet, but it's existing built. With Phase 3, we're gonna do this last segment up to here, and this part of Fasken is already constructed also by.
But there's
not-
gonna be an exit towards Fasken.
On their
Yes.
face?
On their face?
On my face, no, because the owner, the developer, which is San Isidro, does not own this part. This is owned by another developer, but that is already built, constructed. It's not, I don't believe, no, the plat, I think it's already recorded, but it's still not as a capacity. But by the time we connect here, right here at this intersection to Faskin, it will be open.
Because the main issue since the beginning is you have an emergency. Everybody towards the same exit. Okay? We have the same issue in the warehousing area, the same. We need to specify a little bit more exits towards the sides because there's a lot of lots
Yes.
for only two exits.
No,
That's
no,
my-
I agree. When Unit 1, they start building houses, Palm Lake will be connected to Faskin, no, I'm sorry, to Mines Road. And also Havasu connects already to Rancho Viejo, so that they'll have those two main
Where-
connections.
Where is Havaso?
Havasu is Tahoe. It used to be Tahoe, but we
Okay,
changed
yeah,
the name.
where's Havaso? I only see Tahoe Drive.
Yeah, sorry, Tahoe.
Okay.
We had to change the name. When Unit 3 becomes, it's open, then by then it will also have a connection through Faskin, and as you know, Palm Lake will be open already, and Rancho Viejo will still be open, obviously. So it will have very good access throughout.
My issue here is that it's a subdivision ordinance and it states if it's at least 100 feet to 120 feet, you have to provide some sort of close-end turnaround. So that's the issue I have. It's a subdivision ordinance and that's all I needed to say.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just to be clear, on Lake Havasu, this road here, it's going to be connecting to Faskin and Rancho Viejo, and will be open to traffic? Or you
Yes.
say those are closed?
No, open
Those
to
are all
traffic.
Okay. And so the only issue is those others that you have a dead end?
They're interior roads.
Right.
They're not for,
And they're on interior roads?
yeah, they're interior roads and you try to discourage traffic by,
Right.
and plus they're super close to the main local street, so it's advised not to have them open that close.
So what is your diameter right now?
I'm sorry?
What is your diameter that is not meeting the 120, or is it?
No, I have none. It's a dead end. It's just a
it's
straight
just
road.
a dead end?
Yes, sir.
Is there enough space to put the diameter that's required under the ordinance, or
No, what will happen if,
you'll have to eat some lots?
And that's
I'm
what
sorry?
saying, it's
You'll
not
have to eat
120
into
feet.
some of the pre-existing
yes,
lots.
what I will end up doing, if it's not approved, then I will remove that segment of the road and just do similar to how Unit 2 right here looks. This,
Okay.
this here, you see? Like no street will hit any of those roads and, we try not to do this because it creates a lot of irregular lots and, so that was the reason that we were proposing, doing them this way.
Yeah? Yes. I make the motion to leave the comments the way they are.
I second it. We have a motion by Commissioner Slapadas and a second by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 7B, I do have a note that this item is requesting to be postponed time certain.
Motion to postpone the item?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Moving on now to consideration of the following preliminary plats and preliminary replats. Item 8A is preliminary consideration of the plat of Palm Lake subdivision Phase 3. The intent is residential, multifamily, and commercial.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the record, the applicant is San Isidro Southwest, Engineer Slate Engineering Company. Proposed use is residential. Zoning for this 191 lot development is R1A. Location view. Aerial view. The proposed plat. Staff comments planning. Fire. And traffic safety. And the proposed motion.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ramiro Ibarra again from Slay Engineering. We concur with the comments. We were going to object to comment number 2, which is the same that we just talked about, but if it's, so we concur with the rest of the comments. Thank you.
Motion to approve subject to staff comments?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Moving on to item 8B, I also have a note to request this item to be postponed time certain.
Motion to postpone the item?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Moving on to item 8C is preliminary consideration of the replat of Lot 19, Block 3, Aquero subdivision, Phase 3, NA 0.94770 acre unplatted tract at 0.455 acre unplatted tract in Lot 19A, Block 3, Aquero subdivision, Phase 3. The intent is residential. The purpose of this replat is to combine 2 unplatted tracts and 1 platted tract into 1 lot.
Yes, sir. For the record, the applicant is Francine Muller-Woodall, engineers KCI Technologies, proposed use as residential. The zoning for this one lot development is AG and R1A. Location view. Aerial view. As platted and the proposed replat. Staff comments planning. And the proposed motion.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission, staff. Edward Ochoa with KCI, and we concur with staff's comments.
Motion to approve subject to staff comments?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Moving on to item 8D. Preliminary consideration of the replat of Lot 15, Block 6, Pueblo Nuevo subdivision into Lot 15A and Lot 15B, Block 6, Pueblo Nuevo subdivision. The intent is residential. The purpose of this replat is to subdivide 1 lot into 2 lots.
Yes, sir. For the record, the applicant is Ricardo Aguilar, engineer Ramos Engineering, proposed use as residential, and the current zone is not applicable as this tract is in the ETJ. Location view, aerial view, as platted in the proposed replat, staff comments planning, parks and leisure, and the proposed motion.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Council members.
Next, so few,
Vamos
word.
X.
Appointido, council members.
Getting ahead of
Está
myself there. Good evening,
next
guys.
meeting.
Francisco Ramos, Ramos Engineering, here representing the owner. We concur with staff comments.
Motion to approve, subject to staff comments.
bien. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Moving on to consideration of the following final plats and final replats. If there's no objection from staff or commission to hear items 9A and 9B together.
Motion to hear 9A and 9B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Salapas. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carries. If we can have a motion of action of approval for items 9A and 9B.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion carries. May we read those into record?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the record, final consideration of the replat of Lot 2, Block 1, the Coves at Winfield Commercial Unit 2 into Lot 2A, Block 1, the Coves at Winfield Commercial Unit 2, approved. Final consideration of the plat of Santa Elena subdivision, Phase 13, approved.
Thank you. Moving on to consideration of an extension to the following final plats and final replats. Also, there's no objection by staff or commission to hear items 10A and 10B together.
So move to hear 10A and 10B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Now we can have a motion of action of approval for items
So
10A
moved, Mr. Chair.
and 10B. We have a motion?
Motion, so moved.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Salapas. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Moving on to director's comments. Update regarding 11A, update regarding video conference call, virtual meeting option for planning and zoning commission meetings.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. A few meetings back, we had some interest in video conferencing and virtual attendance, so we did a little bit of research. We have a brief presentation on the item.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for a little bit of background on this request, back in the meeting of January 16th, the P&Z Commission members requested that staff look into the virtual meeting option for the commissioner. And what we did get some assistance from the city attorney's office, from Mr. Charles, and he did provide a little bit of background on the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 550, which is the primary code dealing with open meetings, and specifically Section 551.127, which deals specifically with video conference calls in open meetings. The major criteria for compliance with the statute is that, one, a full quorum must be physically present. So at any meeting that we have, we'd have to have a minimum of 5 members of the commission physically present in the room. The presiding member or the chairperson must be physically present. That's a requirement. Also, the meeting location where the quorum or presiding members present, as well as each remote location, shall have two-way audio and video communication with each other during the entire meeting. So it's very, very important that the equipment is fully up to code and spec to be able to have that two-way communication at all times. And then the other thing that we need to look at is, or consider, if this was to be an option, is to make sure that the venue has the equipment built in. So like the council chambers does have that capacity, but sometimes we do have P&Z meetings at other locations, and those other locations might not have the equipment for that. So that's something to keep in mind as well. While speaking, each participant's face must be clearly visible and the voice audible to each other participant and to the members of the public. So it's very important that the people that are participating off-site virtually, that their cameras are always on and their mics are always on. Very important. It's very important that the public can see their facial expressions and so on and so forth. Next up, and should at any moment the connection be lost with some of the members, or that time, they will be counted as not being present for that portion of the meeting. And lastly, generally speaking, remote participants shall be counted. Wait, let me back up. Sorry about that. I missed one thing. Also, if there are technical problems, because when you do have a virtual meeting, it also must be transmitted live. Should there be issues with those connections, the meeting would have to be recessed until such time as that is brought forward. So, lastly, should the P&Z Commission wish to or look further into this, we would definitely ask that the equipment be verified to make sure that it meets the minimum specs as required by the city for those connections, and as well as we would definitely need confirmation of the Zoom form in advance.
Okay.
One final thing is, in order to have the virtual attendance, we need to have members from our
IT department.
IT department present at all times during that meeting. This will require additional staff being assigned that are not typically here. So we would also be required to secure management's approval in order to assign those resources.
And also, well, I didn't see anything on that, but for example, it's not only for us to be here, but for traffic, like TxDOT and all of those, they could virtually connect. Because sometimes also with us, it's impossible to understand when they are not present, and they should be present here. So we don't have anybody in traffic, we don't have anybody in utilities, we don't have anybody like that when they come and they express their concern or their point. There's always gonna be the virtual part that they can connect wherever they are at, and we can ask, and they can be.
That would be a different set of circumstances. These requirements are just to be in compliance with obviously the Texas Open Meetings Act. And because this is a decision-making board, the same requirements that apply to our city council would apply to this board, as opposed to some of our advisory boards where quorum can be established through virtual presence. That's not the case with this board because it is a decision-making board. As far as staff being present virtually, that's not so much compliance with the code as much as it is the logistics behind it. You know, again, that would be discussion with staff and management and RT department, to see if that is an option. But, you know, more so the focus was just compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, and with this board, you know.
Well, and just to piggyback off that, if we are a decision-making board, there are a lot of rules that we have to apply to this commission. Then again, we echo the sentiment of, it is an important commission. We would hope the city staff would also consider that as well. The other departments, fire is always here, of course, and I know utilities sometimes is here, but for the most part, sometimes some of them are not.
For clarification, the 5 physical for quorum, you mean physically present?
Here,
Or,
yes.
so then, if there's 5 physically present, then 1 or 2 could be virtual?
Yes,
Okay.
the code does allow other.
But you need
other
at least
members.
5 here
But the
physically present?
presiding member must be one of the 5 that is here.
Just thinking outside the box, the 5 that are here. The ones that are not here, they want to get online. They have to be where? In an office or at home? And I say that because, simple, I cannot be here, but you know what, I'm in the hospital. I'm gonna get connected from the hospital. Do we really want somebody that we don't know what kind of medication they're under, if they're thinking properly? So I would say if that's gonna happen, they have to be either in a home or an office, nowhere else.
I mean, as far as
Because that could fall in, I read something about that, so.
as far as compliance with the code, I mean, as long as we're you know, complicit with what the code requires as far as the capability with video and audio. I mean, it doesn't really say where you have to be, but ideally, I mean, I would imagine some
Like
type
a
of
work-presence
home
office,
office, you
yeah.
know, type setting would be ideal. If someone's, you know, mental capacity or ability to decide comes into question, I think that's probably for another conversation in the code, not so much with this one.
Because that could actually happen here, so.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say. It could
that could be
happen
called into
present.
question whether the person's present or virtual. But yeah, I would hope that if someone is in a position where they are hospitalized or they're not in a state at home to where they can make clear decisions, that, you know, that person it would be incumbent on the commissioner or the member, you know, to you know, be aware of that and willingly step out of participation from that meeting. But yeah, I think the focus of this is more just being compliant with the Texas Open Meetings Act. And, you know, those other issues more call into maybe some ethical questions, right? Some ethics codes and whatnot, but.
Mr. Chairman, a question
Yes.
for legal. The participants to our meeting, oftentimes you have licensed engineers that are coming to the podium, and they are in essence giving their recommendation or their request to us. If it's open to the public in that manner, are there not any rules for those that are participating remotely that would either be objecting to a particular zone case or to a plat or whatever the case may be? Wouldn't some of the rules that are required of us to have the mic on, their camera on, also be incumbent upon the participant? Similar to coming to the well and speaking, you know, they identify their, you know, by name and the item that they're testifying to or objecting to. Would they not have certain number of rules that apply to them as well?
I would say no. Their involvement, let's say, for example, I guess can we give them like staff maybe or an engineer? Say if an engineer were to participate, if we were allowed them to participate virtually, I would say that what's important to them is just that portion that they bring to the meeting. No, I would say that the requirements set out in this particular section of the government code, it's strictly to maintain, you know, the requirements of the Texas Open Meetings Act as far as the board goes, right? Which is, yeah, I think it's meant to govern the board, not so much participants. You know, say if we were to allow public comments to be virtual, that's fine. They come in and, you know, as long as we could require they show their face, right? State their name, same things that as if they would be here. But as far as, you know, applying all of these requirements to those individuals, not so much. I mean, this is just strictly to govern the members of the board to ensure, you know, compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act.
To be able to make the meeting.
And if the chair is not present, but the vice chair is present physically, does that qualify, or the chair?
That's fine, as long as the full quorum, as long as there's a physical quorum present, whether it's the chair, vice chair, mayor, as long as the quorum is present.
Question, one last question. Speaking of that specific issue, if the chairman is available virtually but not physically, and the vice chair is here physically, who chairs the meeting?
The vice
That's
chair.
right.
I would believe the vice chair could chair virtually, as long as the code doesn't really specify as who can run the meeting, whether they have to be present, as long as there's a physical quorum present, from there, the meeting could be run.
Mr. Chair, but I thought the notes specifically said that the chair had to be present in this particular case, or in the absence of the chair, the vice chair.
Oh, I'm sorry,
So if the chair is able to attend virtually because he's traveling, so he's able to attend, but he can't chair the meeting at that point. He has to be physically present. So the vice chair would be the
Yes.
correct,
presiding
yes,
officer.
yes,
That's
correct.
The one that's here.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool, okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wait, yes.
a minute.
No, too late, sorry.
Two
Okay, I
seconds.
put it back.
Seconds.
Second.
We just wanted to take a moment. As you all know, the new council member has made his appointments. They haven't been sworn in, and of course, they weren't able to be seated. So we just wanted to take a quick moment to thank most sincerely Commissioner Narvaez for his dedicated service. You know, without without the service of the community, dedicated members like you, this could not, with the work of the planning commission could not go forward. So we really, really wanted to, we don't know if he'll be here at the next one, what'll happen. So we just wanted to say from the bottom of, on behalf of the entire city, thank you. Thank you so much.
So, it's been a privilege and an honor to work with all of y'all, past commissions and present commissions, and I've learned a lot from everyone here, and it's been an honor to work with all of y'all. So, thank you.
He may be here again, we don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
just in case.
you know, but
Just
we,
in case.
and just in case, we wanted to make sure we thanked him most sincerely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. If-
And with that, that's it, that's all I got.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Motion a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. We adjourn.
No.